around, he mucks in, and people praise him for that, myself included. But on one hand, while I like him, we may look at a game a couple of months ago against City, he worked very hard. Why I like that, some people that are the harsh critics will say, work rate, tenacity, all of this is just a given with the modern day midfielders, which I believe. And for me with Joe, yeah, he's good in games where we might be playing a City, we have to do a lot of running and stuff. But I just think in games when we're playing a low block and things, I don't know how Joe Willock helps you. I know he can make runs beyond the first man and make those sort of box-to-box runs, but I don't see the quality on the ball. I don't see the consistency. And going on loan could help you. And, Newcastle are fighting relegation. So Joe Willock, he'd have to hit the ground running. And I think this is where it is now. I think it's too nice at Arsenal for guys like him, with all due respect, because, again, you're at Arsenal, you're involved sometimes, but you're not. You got to go to Newcastle where they're not going to care that you're a Highland player. You're Joe Willock, a man that's played for Arsenal, won FA Cup. Newcastle trying to stay in the league now. There's question marks over the manager, question marks over the players. Obviously, you've got some more experienced individuals in that midfield than you. You need to go out and play, and I think that's what he needs. This comfortable bubble needs to be popped. And I think Joe Willock, minutes are currency. Joe's 21 years of age, 70 odd times. I still don't know what you are. It's a bit like Maitland-Niles. Depending on what Arsenal fan you speak to, man will say, give him a chance in midfield. No, he's a fullback. He's a fullback. Now he's a midfielder. Maitland-Niles has played 100 odd times for Arsenal, and we still don't know what these guys are, sort of thing, if I'm looking at it on a harsh point of view. So again, hopefully, going out, gets him more game time, makes him develop as a footballer, returns a stronger player for Arsenal, or hopefully it puts him into the shop window where obviously we can make a change, funds can be reinvested, sort of thing. He's been largely a substitute. He's made 7 appearances in the Prem this year, starting 2, where he earned his spot playing against Leeds, and he was woeful. And at 21 years of age, you need game time, and you should have went on loan. I understand backing yourself, but you just weren't there. You're just not fully there yet, people. As you can clearly see, Newcastle are apparently interested in Joe Willock. Apparently, Arsenal have reservations over Newcastle's pursuit of Joe Willock, as they are in the process of allowing Maitland-Niles out on loan as well. And for me, that's the only thing that prevents Joe Willock from going on loan, is because of the bodies. If something happens to Ceballos and or El Nene or Partey, we're in problems. So I'd keep him for a body to help us. But at that logic, it's not helpful for him because he's not going to get the minutes to really develop. So I'd probably keep either him or Maitland-Niles. I'd keep, but I think both of them should go on loan to develop. They're not going to get any better unless that. Apparently, they have reservations over Joe Willock going to Newcastle. I'm not too sure why. It's not I can understand the West Bromwich Albion ones because obviously you got Sam Allardyce and things like that. Apparently, Joe Willock is specifically being loaned out as a midfielder, which he is, and Maitland-Niles is being loaned out specifically as a fullback. Again, whether we're going to keep these players or not, put them in the shop window, go and let them get minutes and then reinvest if it is what it is. Our academy is supposed to be self-financing, you get, of course, you get the thingies, you get the Sackers and Pete and Smith Rowe now and Maitland-Niles at a time. People, the first priority of our academy is to progress to the first teams, get us a couple players, save us a couple quid. How much has Saka saved us? Do you get it? Second of all, there's nothing wrong with certain man not going to make it here. Things change, managers change. Okay, cool. Go and get your piece. Can you go and get a 5 to 10 million for Joe Willock at this moment in time? Hopefully, if he went to Newcastle and he hit it off, he adds some more millions onto that. Could you, I've got the 20 million for Maitland-Niles and say, cool, you've done your thing. You've won an FA Cup here. You've played 100 and odd times. You come from Highland. Go and have your career, and we reinvest that money to do other things, whether that's buying a long-term option at fullback, like a Lampeter or things like that. I know I'm dreaming, or reinvest this money elsewhere. So it is what it is in that regards, man. It really is what it is, Again, the first priority, and again, our academy, especially at a time at Arsenal where we don't have money, we should be looking at our academy to kind of get us out of these things. Look at Chelsea, if they ever decide to sell some of their academy products, even ones that haven't had a sniff at the first team, where are they going to be, people? Apparently, Joe Willock is top of Steve Bruce's list. Apparently, Newcastle also want Hamza Chudbury, and they've also inquired about Oliver Incham from Celtic. He's a bad boy footballer, and as they try to add at least 2 loans before Monday's deadline, Hamza Chudbury could be decent. I'd probably think, if I was Steve Bruce, he'd be my first choice. He's more Premier League proven than Joe Willock. You know, the same thing I'm saying about Joe. And I think I think Joe is a box to box man in the pivot. But right now he's played as a box to box man. He's done an inverted winger. He's played as a 10. I don't know what you are. So if I'm Newcastle or Steve Bruce and I'm looking at it, yeah, Joe's played for Arsenal and he's probably technically with a football better than Hamza Chadbury. But I'd probably go towards Hamza because, like I'm saying, why Joe needs to improve. You know, at least with Hamza, you know he's a combative midfielder. He puts a foot in. You know, you don't quite know what Joe is, but if he is top of Steve Bruce's list, then normally if you're top of the list, that might mean a manager wants you a bit more. If he wants you a bit more, he's going to play you a bit more. And I think Joe Willock needs this. You know, his progress is being halted. You know, a couple of times he's even been left out the England under-21 setup because you've seen the Josh De Silvas and these people advance. You know, he might even lose it to Smith Rowe as well. Sort of thing. So again, he needs to go out on loan. He needs to go and play people. As you lot heard, we apparently, you know, it's reiterated in this article that we did try to use him and allegedly, it hasn't said it here, but allegedly Nelson as well as potential permanent / loan make weights to try and get a deal done for Buendia, which hasn't happened, people. That's about Saliba, and we're going to get into that in a second, people. What else was there, people, in relation to keeping up with this, you know, keeping up with the midfielders and things like that? And Leicester, once again, have been linked with Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Now, they've been linked with him permanently. They've been linked with him on loan. Now, admittedly, since I last got this report and you know, was setting up the live stream for you, there has been reports to say Leicester's interest in Arsenal's Maitland-Niles is wide of the mark. They do like him, but it's premature to suggest he's going for them. You know, and Maitland's got to make the right decision because, yeah, it'd be great joining Leicester. You're with Maddison, couple of your England under-21s and England full international colleagues, but are you going to play? You know, you've got Pereira, who's had a long-term injury. I don't know when he's back or if he is back, but he's definitely there. James Justin has done well at left and right back. You know, are you going to play? Are you going to play at Southampton? Are you going to play at Newcastle? I think you got a chance. Are you going to play at Southampton if they keep Bertrand and if Kyle Walker-Peters gets fit? Even in midfield, are you going to get a look in? So Maitland-Niles needs to make the right decision in relation to his move, but he's been linked with Leicester, as you can see here. Leicester are set to make a late move for Arsenal's in-demand Ainsley Maitland-Niles. As you lot know, he's desperate for Arsenal to let him go before Monday's deadline, so he stands a chance of playing in, obviously, the Euros. Apparently, Leicester could jump ahead of the queue as they are keen to do a loan deal with an option to make it permanent in the summer, with Southampton, West Brom and Newcastle having also registered their interest. You know, for me, we need him to go out. We need these players to go where they're going to play consistently so that we can talk about maybe coming back to Arsenal stronger and having more of a chance of really getting blooded in here, or they've put themselves in the shop window. So when I'm seeing him linked with Southampton and these clubs there, where as much as I like Ainsley Maitland-Niles, when I do up the maths, I do back you to get game time there, but it's not a definite. I don't see how, you know, we're going to get, you know, you're going to increase your rep and stuff like that, sort of thing. He needs to play permanent. He's been linked with them. It is what it is in that regards, people. You know, and I don't blame Leicester and Southampton for allegedly wanting options to make it permanent. I'd rather keep him, to be fair. And again, you know, clearly he might feel that he has no chance because Arteta keeps making comments about him in training. It is what it is in that regards, people. In terms of incomings at Arsenal, you know, it could be a case of Joe, Nelson and Ainsley Maitland-Niles all departing on loan. But in terms of bringing people in, we've been linked with Tariq Mitchell. We've been linked with Ryan Bertrand. Now we've been linked with former Chelsea player and current Crystal Palace left back Patrick Van Aanholt, people. Apparently, Arsenal could make a late January move for the left back. Apparently, he's emerged as a surprise target for Mikel Arteta. I don't really see anything to back up these claims, but it said he's been linked with him. We wanted Tariq Mitchell, who's, you know, got a look in the Crystal Palace side and done relatively well when we got to see him up close, where he did all right, in my opinion, against us. It is what it is, people. Now, from what you can read, apparently Patrick Van Aanholt doesn't have long left on his contract. He's 30 years of age. And of course, Arsenal are not Manchester City. We're not his former club where they won the Champions League. But it does present an opportunity to be a team that's potentially in Europe, or at least competing, a team with higher expectations than Crystal Palace. Also, it allows him to stay in London. Also, let's be real, from a finances point of view, at 30 years of age, it might be a last time to secure a decent contract. And considering the contracts that have been given out and things, you'd back him to get a decent one here at Arsenal, really and truly. As you can see, we're apparently considering a late January move for him. As you lot know, we need cover at left back. Cedric done well yesterday there. Saka's previously done well there. Ainsley Maitland-Niles historically has done well there. But I'm pretty sure Arteta, and I'm sure a lot of us fans, we would like if you're like not a stopgap. If you're a left back, you're an actual left back, and that's what Patrick Van Aanholt gives us. And at 30 years of age, he doesn't necessarily block the pathway for young academy prospects, or if we was to move for a younger left back. To be fair with you, I'd only really want to take him on loan. I wouldn't want to take this up permanently. But again, Crystal Palace, would they want to let someone be loaned out who's going to be free in a couple of months? Maybe, because they'll get a loan fee. But who knows, people? You know, as the reporter said, apparently Arsenal were tracking Mitchell earlier in the window, but Crystal Palace see the 21-year-old as their long-term option. Patrick Van Aanholt's contract obviously ends in the summer, and, you know, it's speculated as to why Crystal Palace might let him go. As you lot know, when they beat on Saturday, when they beat Wolves, who we play on Tuesday, he started his first game for 5 games. Obviously, he lost his space in the side to the man we was previously linked with, people. He spent 4.5 years there, as this report is saying. So he probably needs to keep it moving. And obviously, there's also the chance to play for Holland, which doesn't really make sense, because if Tierney's fit, you're not playing Patrick Van Aanholt. So if you're going to go and get football, you probably need to go elsewhere, really and truly. So beyond the fact he's not playing, his contract and Arsenal's need for a fullback or a left-sided fullback, you can't really see why that's the case, people. Moving away from that, though, people, and I find myself going over the same things like Joe Willock, like all of this and the rest of it, people. But Saliba's had something to say, and I've got his game recorded. He will be playing against his former team, St. Etienne, later today. But he's had his say or been speaking in relation to Arsenal and things like that. And I saw it first and foremost via Telefoot. If we miss anything, we'll circle back here, people. But obviously, I can't speak French, so we're going to have to rely on the Google Translate button, people. In which it says, after the injury of Dante, who is the boss of the team, I had contact with the leaders who asked me if I was ready to take this role. I said yes, even though I'm young. This is by no means being pretentious or having a big head. So we already know, for all Saliba's, for his young years, and sometimes he shows his inexperience on the field, the mentality is, for me, why he's going to go on and have a good career, hopefully for Arsenal, sort of thing. Do you get it, people? So it is what it is. This is everything he's been saying. He said, for me, the best solution, the best choice was to join Nice. There is a good project, a good team, good ambitions. It plays well with the ball. We'll never know truly why he picked Nice ahead of a return to St. Etienne or wholly to other clubs. But, you know, they use a lot of young players. Again, they might be all over the place, to put it nicely, but he's got a platform to play, to be a leader amongst other young players, and a manager that believes in young things. A lot of things that are said when a young man leaves France and it doesn't happen, like you've seen, you know, Benatia was criticised for leaving France too early. Now he's obviously at AC Milan. Jeffrey Nayad laid the same, and he's returned to France. You know, a lot is said for these young players that leave Holland and France early. He said, I don't think I left too early. When you feel ready, you have to leave. These are things that happen. I have confidence in myself. And, you know, a football career is never straight. It's met with adversity. So that is going to happen, Saliba. Admittedly, I didn't see all of these comments, people. This looks like it's in relation to Arsenal. He said, I really didn't think transferred to 30 mil for, well, again, Google's checked it here, but he said, I really didn't think after being transferred for 30 mil that I was going to find myself playing with the reserve. So again, I'm not going to go over the same things, but this also tells you that, you know, we were very reactive to Saliba's development. We weren't really proactive, and I've spoke about it at length. Just go and check out my previous vids. I don't really want to cover the same things over and over again. In case anything was missed, the Metro's done a report, and let me zoom in because I'm conscious not all of you lot can see, but apparently Saliba has admitted he was hurt by Mikel Arteta's decision to overlook him this season. Scrolling down and going to the face of it, people, he said, not missing anything else, he said, I really didn't think that I would be transferred for 30 million. To think that I would arrive where people were expecting a lot from me, the fans excited about me, and you find yourselves in the reserve. So again, that's what we was all thinking. You know, we all wanted to see you at the club prior, but you had your loan and all of these things. If you're not ready, you're not ready. But it was a bit bewildering, and for me, I would have liked to have seen proactiveness, because I don't want to go over the same things. But we already knew. You know, we knew that Saliba wasn't going to be 100% ready, and he probably won't be next season. We want him to compete, but he's not going to be the Saliba we expect of him in years to come. It's about building blocks. There's nothing wrong with not being ready right now. For me, my issue was being proactive, because there's nothing wrong with him not being ready to immediately help us now. But how are we going to get him there? We spent 30 million and then we spent the summer on our hands, you know, trying to palm him off to random clubs. Then he missed out on a large chunk of football realistically. And now he's gone on in January and he's doing his thing. But it's the proactiveness. And that's it for me. You know, we've spoken about Joe Willock, MaitlandNiles, Saliba, all of these guys, people, they've all got potential. But it's like, how are we going to realize that? You know, if he has to go on loan, what club? How are we going to do it? You know, this is the sort of thing we need to do, because again, you don't get there overnight and say, oh, Saliba's not ready. You have you have a loan manager who conducts reports and he gives it to you. And also Arteta ran the rule over him in pre-season. Again, there were some personal factors at play, but you know, I do think he's been robbed of a couple of months. He said, to play 0-0, nothing in the Europa League or the league. I was in the squad once in the League Cup. It hurt me. It affected me. And it should, you know, the Europa League at the bare minimum, we all thought you could get minutes there, especially in hindsight. Mustafi seems to be leaving. You know, what is he going to get there? And let's be real, the Saliba, you know, the Europa League is a bit of a joke until you get past the group stages. So he could have got a platform there. He said, well, I've already said that already, but if you've missed out, I don't think I left too early. When you feel ready, you have to go. I don't think I left too early. These things happen. I believe in myself. It is what it is. He hasn't ruled out. Well, obviously they're flirting between permanently going back there. Look at this diver. But he said, I'm just focused on doing the absolute most and best possible for the next 6 months. After that, we'll see. And that's it. You know, whether he goes back on loan, whether it's unlikely, but he leaves permanently, whether what happens, what we all want to happen is he, you know, his Arsenal career can kick on. We're all cheering for you, Saliba. And the fans are very excited to see what you've got ready for us, people. So it is what it is.